Good morning and good noon. We will start in 3 minutes. Feel free to write on chat where you are joining us from around the world. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our third webinar in the series of Generative AI for Software Developers. My name is Adi Stein. I'm the Digital and App Innovation in Azure GTM in Southeast Europe. And together with me, an amazing crew today. We have Moria Dror, will be the second host. She's managing the Reactor all across EMEA. And our esteemed speaker guest, Yaniv Vaknin, who is a Senior Architect Generative AI in our special GBB unit and team in EMEA. Before we start, I would like to share with you a few logistical notes. Today's session will last 1 hour and 15 minutes. During the entire event, you can type your questions in the Q&A chat. Our moderators and speakers will do their best to answer most of them. If you don't want your name to be visible in the public chat, that's okay. You have the option to type your questions anonymously. Today's event will be recorded and you will receive the recording along with the presentation deck and more resources of interest in the follow-up emails, which you will receive in the next days. And at the end of the session, our moderators will post a survey link in the Q&A chat. And we kindly ask you to spend a moment, if you can, to fill in the survey and share with us your feedback regarding today's events, because we want to improve and we take your feedbacks and take it into the next sessions in this series. And of course, like we published on social, and you probably have seen that, during today's session, we will run a great contest of which you can win an online voucher offered by GitHub. How the contest is going to work? So at the end of the session, we will post a question related to the topic presented during the webinar, and the first person who will answer it correctly will be declared as the winner. For transparency, we will post the winner. I will share at the end of the event the winner name during the session. And if you don't want your name to be visible to others, that's okay again. You can also answer anonymously. Our team will contact you throughout a private message to validate you and offer you the voucher and instruction on how to use it. In case the initial winner cannot be contacted or don't drop, or doesn't meet the criteria, we will contact the next person on our records. We wish you a good luck in this competition and may the best and the fastest win. And for now, the moment you actually were waiting for, Yaniv, over to you.
Hi, Adi. Thank you very much. Really excited to be here with you today. Let me share my screen. Let me know if it's okay.
Perfect.
Great. So we prepared a really cool session. I think that the purpose and the objective of this session is essentially to take the heavy lifting of building a full LLM application with all of the components, as we know, from software development, monitoring, CI/CD, with a flavor of LLM. A few words. Yeah, so in the last couple of years, I had the privilege of building AI products. I was the founder of DeepSea AI, worked as a specialist with machine learning and AI, led a engineering team, and today I'm technical specialist GenAI with Microsoft, working with Microsoft customers, helping them to build valuable, scalable solution based on LLM. So today we are going to discuss about different topics, and we'll try to unlock some of the challenges of building an LLM application. So we will build an end-to-end LLM application. We will discuss about different tools to optimize and to accelerate your LLM app development. We will optimize, we learn a new tool, how to optimize the process of prompt engineering, accelerate the LLM app deployment, building and creating with just 5 magical characters, a hint, AZD app, spinning up all of the resources, different resources with just single line of codes. And one of interesting challenges is how to debug effectively and efficiently your trace monitoring your LLM app. So in the last couple of months, or in the last 2 years, we saw the revolution of GenAI, and people are doing really cool stuff with GenAI. And when we're starting with the playground, we are using and asking like simple question. You can see here, tell me about New York, and we'll get like an amazing answer. But the next phase, when we are trying to take from the playground to, and you have really nice tools, you can export the code, etc. But once you would like to move it from POC to production, things becoming more complicated. And today we will tackle some of these challenges. So how do we make GenAI apps useful and valuable for organization? So when we deploy a solution, we would like to evaluate it. What are the common evaluation techniques, and how do we measure it over time, right? So we expect that a certain threshold, let's say from 1 to 5, where 5 is good. So we would like to define a certain threshold, and what are the evaluation techniques like coherence, accuracy, relevance, etc. Changing the prompt. So it's kind of changing the mindset from software engineering, where each word that we replace in our prompt is a new software version, right? Because one word can create a significant impact in the prompt, and effectively it will impact the full application. And there are different types of application, either external or internal. External, it can be an internal knowledge base, so we can to some extent allow some errors, etc., because it's external, but internal, sorry. But for external applications, customer facing, customer support, etc., every error or every security issue can impact the reputation of the company, etc. And we saw a few cases in the last 2 years. The next challenge is we built something, we would like to improve it. So, and we are seeing that the metrics are going up or going down. So how to debug and to understand the failures fast, really fast, and building a full application with all of the infrastructure. So infrastructure as code with Terraform, Bicep, or today I will discuss and elaborate about AZD app, which is a Microsoft tool to essentially accelerate your app deployment. And you can see here in this slide, like different personas in the organization. So it can be the data scientist, the ML engineer, DevOps, backend engineer, and try to consolidate and integrate and create a synergy between all of the personas to deploy the applications. By the way, feel free to ask questions in the chat. So I cannot see them, but Adi will help me. And once you will have like questions, I will be happy to answer them. So LLMOps, the LLM lifecycle. So I think the most important thing is to start, you can see the business need. So as builders, you need to ask the hard questions. What is the business value of this application? And we would like to see that we have like an amazing ROI on this application and create a business impact. Otherwise, the decision makers will not move forward to another use case. So you need really to understand and to crystallize as the question, the product team, the decision maker, the C-suite, what is the objective? What is the end goal and how do we measure it? This is the what is the metric? Customer support, we would like to improve our customer CSAT, customer satisfaction. This is an amazing business impact, or to reduce the cost of whatever resources it would be. So starting from this, and for the LLM early journey, the business need must be a solid business case with a real value for the business. The next step is to ideate, so you can try different prompt, play with different LLMs. You have the Azure Playground, where you can test different configurations, change the temperature, max tokens, etc., etc. And then the next phase is you would like to improve and then to evaluate against like different scenarios. And for this stage, you will need a golden set. So a golden set is kind of the ground truth. So you build like a customer support. So you would like to see what is the performance of your solution with real scenarios. So you can describe a conversation between a customer and the customer support agent, and then you would like to evaluate according to different metrics, and you would like to see that if you change one word in the prompt, it improved, and you don't want to do it. And I've seen like some companies are running these processes manually, and again, today we will cover how you can automate these processes, run it just single button, and to run a batch run, etc. And obviously, you can add some different tools, RAG component, or more advanced topics. And the third stage or the third phase is to launch it in production. So usually you will start with a canary deployment, expose the solution for 10%, 20% with a preview. And then once you are feeling more comfortable, you can get like a real life scenarios from customer and then iterate and improve the performance of your solution. And once you're ready, take it to production. And there are many components you must, it's not you should or it's nice to have, you must consider, like content filtering, especially for external application, violence, etc. And another thing is prompt injection. So again, all of these safety components, you must have them in place. And obviously, you would like to manage the cost of this solution. If you have like some resources you don't have enough quota, so you will need to ask for more quota, and then make sure the cost is working well, and down the road to reduce the cost of this infrastructure of the LLM cost. And here you can see the full process. So we cover some of the stages. So we have a solid business use case, play with different models, small models, large models, and you can choose like for if you have like a few solutions, so you can try to find the most cost-effective LLM model. And again, if you have like a 5-pound hammer, you don't need to use a 5-pound hammer for each problem. Some challenges or some questions or tasks, you can use like a small model, and thus you will reduce the cost of the infrastructure. And for some like more complicated tasks, you will use the bigger models like GPT-4o, etc. The next phase is evaluation. So you can use prompt flow. Prompt flow is an open source tool by Microsoft where you can build different pipelines, you can evaluate automatically as code, and then you have like to take the decision, are you satisfied or not, and iterate again. And once you are satisfied, you can deploy an endpoint monitoring, and it's an iterative process where you are constantly trying to improve the performance, trying to find outliers, etc. One thing I think and it's not a new concept, because 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we had the concept of MLOps, and I would like to say for the tech leaders in this conversation, this is not nice to have. You must understand the challenges and the processes of MLOps or LLMOps. It's quite similar, and I wrote about it like you can see 2022. I think, in my humble opinion, it's a strategic goal for tech leader to understand the flow, the challenges, the pros and cons, etc. And it's quite similar to the LLMOps challenge. So if you have some time, feel free to check this QR code and to read about it, or read any other content, and truly understand the process and how to evaluate the cost of development, the cost of the solution, etc. Great example of a customer creating amazing. So for the ASOS customers that are buying some clothing or other cool stuff from ASOS, so ASOS improved shoppers' experience with innovative AI. They developed an AI-powered experience that befriends customers to learn their preferences. I think it's an interesting use case, and you might use it. And in the last couple of weeks, they deploy it, and hopefully during this year they will. You can read about their plans to release it to full production. But here you can see the products that they use. You have the Azure AI Studio, Azure OpenAI Service, Azure Machine Learning. It's not one tool that can build a full solution. You need kind of a full suite of solution, including databases, security, authentication, etc. So where should we start? So we have different tools. In this session, I will cover.
I will just let you know that people are asking when and whether we will showcase how to embed LLM in the app, and if we can show a real example. So
exactly. Hang on 2 minutes, I think. You will see some code examples, and So we have the AZD CLI. You will see it in live, Prompty, I guess you are familiar with Visual VS Code and GitHub Actions. Introducing Prompty. So what is Prompty? And you will see it in the VS Code. Prompty is VS Code extension. It's an open source by Microsoft, and it's a language agnostic prompt asset that works with popular orchestration frameworks like LangChain and semantic kernel. And here you can see an example. So this is a Prompty file. You can see here, it's a code first template, and you can see here the configuration, and you can see the name of the model, example, system prompt, etc. And it's really easy, especially for large organizations, to create this single standard of prompt and to switch between platforms, frameworks, or developers. AZD app is the kind of the magic tool where you can deploy your app really fast with just one command. And now we will talk about the solution, and you will see the code. So, but before we will dive to the code, just a quick architecture review. So in this case, we have, and I guess you saw it maybe in the previous session, but just to make sure we are all aligned. So we have, just a second, we have here, yeah. So we have here the researcher agent is using different tools like Bing Search, Azure AI Search. The purpose of this solution is to, creating an article about a certain topic. We have the writer agent and editor agent, which evaluate the quality of the article. We are using Azure Monitor, Azure Application Containers, security, authentication, etc. This is simple and basic. Kind of, we can call it multi-agent, but if you would like to deep dive on multi-agent, so in my previous session, and you can check here the GitHub repo, check the QR code, I discussed about AutoGen, which is another great open source tool by Microsoft with more than 30,000 GitHub stars, and you can check it again for those of you that would like to take one step forward. And now the drum rolls, we will have some demo. Let me know if you can see my screen.
We can see the presentation, and now, perfect, there. We can see it.
So I share with you the QR code, but you can search Contoso Creative Writer. So this is the GitHub repo. We have your table of content. You can deploy it like really after this session. There are a few deployment options. We cover the architecture. You can deploy it with GitHub code spaces, VS Code dev containers, or locally. And you can follow the instruction here. And as I mentioned, just AZD login and AZD app, and the application is working. So I've ran the AZD app, and here you can see all of the resources. We have like many resources, more than 15 resources, container app, Bing API, application insights, container registry, storage account, key vault, essentially all you need to deploy these application to production. And now we will check the application. Okay, so I used here you can see the agent web container app, and this is the link. Okay, so this is our application, and we will run a quick example. And here you can see find the latest camping trends, but I don't want the latest camping trends. We are looking for baby clothing today. Trends.
Okay. Yaniv, there is an ask to if you can zoom in a little bit.
Okay, I will try to do it. Is it better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I used here baby clothing as context. And okay, we have the write a fun and engaging article that includes the research and product information. The article should be between 800 and 1,000 tokens. And let's see what we have here. Okay, it's working nice. So we have the latest trends in baby clothing, fashion forward, why keeping up with baby trends matter, and looks good, but no, I think we have a problem here. Okay, Houston, we have a problem. It has been cut off. So we didn't got the full answer. So we'll need to check it. And here you can see, we can review the flow. So we have a problem, and feel free to write in the chat what is the problem. Okay, let me know if you can see my VS Code. Working?
Yes, we can see the VS. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Now it's working. Cool. So this is our repo. We have the API and we have the agent. So as we mentioned, we have 3 agents: editor, writer, and researcher. And we have the orchestrator. So orchestrator called research, and you can see research, product, assignment, and you can review the code later on. Now let's take a look at the different agents. So we have the product, and you can see here we have the prompty. So this is the prompty that we used, that we saw in the presentation. You can see here the configuration and the template. And what I really like about prompty, so you can install it as a VS Code extension, and you can see that you can run different. Okay, so maybe I will use the writer prompty. Okay, so I will use the writer prompty. And here you can see out of the box, you have like 20 models that you can just hit the play. And you know how complicated it is to, switch between models. It's a different function and different API key. And here you just play, and that's it. It's working, and you can get, let me try to. Okay, now we are calling GPT-4o Mini, and you can see here we got a really fast response. So here you can play, just hit the play, and you can get the results from different and evaluate. This one looks better, GPT-4o Mini, and you can use different open source. So maybe let's try Llama. What do you think?
Yes, let's try it.
Oh, he asked me to focus. I forgot the prompty. Okay, so I will focus on this one. Yeah, and now we can try again, maybe. It should work. Okay, it's calling the Llama 370 again, and you can choose and play with different model sizes. As I mentioned at the beginning, you can, evaluate different models and creating your own structure of models. So for not complicated tasks, simple task can be summary or any other simple task. And for complicated tasks, you can use like the bigger models. And again, you can see here various of models from leading companies like Phi-3, which is, and you can see, by the way, meanwhile, you can see here the response from Meta. And yeah, and you have open source, Microsoft open source, Phi-3, and OpenAI, obviously, Mistral, Meta, Cohere, and even AI 21. And again, you can just hit the play and evaluate 20 different models. So let's go back.
Before you move on, a few questions. What is code available in C#?
For this application? So Prompty is language agnostic, so you can use Prompty with C#. I need to check. I think so. Let me check it out. So I'm a Python guy, but I can check it later on, and I think that it is available, but
I will let the Ran who was actually asking that do a quick checkout, and I will publish that on chat. And there is another comment. A lot of comments are being asked about tokens, number of token limited. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess this is your answer to the question. Okay, fair enough. Let's check it out. So here we can see we have the orchestrator file, and we can run the orchestrator and see what will be the response. So let's check the orchestrator, we call the different agents, and here we can see the different pipeline of the solution. And as I mentioned, here we have like 3 agents. We review the writer, so we have the researcher, which is calling different tools like Azure AI Search, and it uses like the product database. And here you can see the response of our LLM with the links, etc. Let me. Okay, this is the response. This is the answer. And now the evaluation, drum rolls. Let's see what will be the response. And here you can see the pipeline, like the QA. Sorry, the editor is evaluating. It is either rejecting. Okay, and here we can see that the relevance is low. So let's check what is the problem. Okay. So we have the Prompty, and you saw like the different models, but we have another cool thing here with Prompty. So we have the traces. Okay, so maybe we can find our answer here. So it is based on OpenTelemetry. No, it's not this one. It's this one. Okay, great. So here we can see the full process. It took 43 seconds, the tokens, and here you can see the different, sorry, this is the system prompt, and this is the completion tokens. You can see here the input and output, and here you can review the full process. It looks good, and you can see complicated processes take seconds, and simple processes in milliseconds. And yeah, here we are using the Prompty chat parser. We have like a few stages. We're finding the products. Okay, 9 seconds. Okay, and this is the product IDs. And I think we should check the run. Okay, so you can see here that it took 2 seconds. And let's check our Azure OpenAI code. So we use GPT 3.5. This is the API version. And we will need to check the write. Okay, the write process, the writer. And you can see this is a different version. Okay, so in the previous agent, we saw GPT 3.5. So this is like really best practice to change the LLM model based on the complexity. And okay, I think we found the problem. So here we have max tokens 200. Okay. And in the prompt, system prompt, you can see that it's 800 to 1000. Okay, so I think this is the gap. Let's check it out and switch it. But again, this is really nice and easy tool to work with, to trace and to evaluate different bugs in your application development. So let's check out the writer. Okay, we have the writer prompty. And now we will add 1. So I think it should work now. Let's see if this is the problem. So here you can see we had GPT relevance was 1.1, which is very low. And let's run it again. And let's see if this was our problem. Again, you can define your own, for different agents, you can write like different prompty files, and it's a language agnostic. And it's really, I think it's make the app development really easy for different teams that are working together and collaborating. So this is like a single source of truth, or a template, a good template for different personas in the organization or different groups that would like to collaborate. So this is like one developer is writing in a certain structure, in structure X, and the other developer is structure Y. So it's really help you to create an alignment in your organization. Okay, so
Yaniv, we have some more questions. Would you like to address them now?
yeah, sure.
Okay, so Fikari is asking, before the model, where can we specify the data source for the model to work against? Or those models are pre-trained against the internet public data collected previously?
So these models are out of the box. We connected the RAG to these models. And on top of this model, you can create your own fine-tuning pattern. So I'm not sure that the question is clear, but again, you can use, in this case, you can connect your own database and ask questions. In this example, we used Bing as a search agent, which collect different data from the internet. And now I think now we are getting a better answer with the full, and now we will run the AZD app. So AZD app, you are running it at the beginning, which create all of the resources. I don't know if you can see it here. And if we are changing different configuration like we did here, now it will deploy it in our production, and hopefully our application will work. So this was kind of a quick review about the code. If you have one last question about the code, and we have like other topics to cover, or you would like me to review some other components here? Yeah.
Just a second.
Meanwhile,
so
you can
regarding
see,
confirming whether it's applicable for .NET or PHP, so we will check it out later, and also we'll follow up in the summary email. Okay, there is a question, which model we use for pipeline?
What I'm not sure I understand for pipeline. So here we use like different models, and you saw that for agent 1 it was 3.5. For other agent it was GPT-4. But yeah, I'm not sure that the question what.
Okay. Okay, so please write it, the person who asked that, please write it again, and we will address that. And Patrick is actually want to confirm what the prompt is used for. So I think it's a great time just to, the question is whether it's used to quickly deploy LLM apps.
Yeah, so prompt is a template that you can work with, and it's a great to collaborate between kind of different developers. So, and if you are using it to run like different experiments, so it's really easy. So you saw it here, where you have like different models, and you can really run a fast experiment. But let's say you deployed it, and now another team in your organization would like to use your code, and they are using a different structure. So we'll need to understand what was your prompt structure, and if you are using like a pattern. So I will call it a pattern, like maybe a JSON or a YAML file when you export it between different applications and different team in the organizations. By the way, I share with you the prompt flow. So we have like different extensions. Prompt flow is a tool to accelerate the flow of our application. Development, you can see here, you can test it, run a batch run. You can use different tools like Python, LLM, and prompt. And again, another tool to evaluate and run different prompts. So let's move forward. So once I will complete to deploy it, hopefully the response here, the article will work. We will check it out. Okay, so other capabilities that you can use. So I share with you the prompt flow. So tracing, sorry, and monitoring and evaluating is nice when you are running it locally. But if you would like to save the logs and the traces, so you can use prompt flow. Here you can see the Azure AI Studio, where you can use the tracing. And again, this is similar to the previous VS Code, but again, this is the difference between running it locally on your VS Code or save the logs and the traces in the cloud. And you just need to add 2 lines of code, importing and add a decorator of tracing. It has a good integration. It's framework agnostic, work with LangChain, AutoGen, FormFlow, Semantic Kernel, which the 3 of them are open sources by Microsoft. And again, both local and cloud runs, and you are getting visualizations out of the box. Another cool tool in your pocket is monitor the data. So here you can see, you can build your own dashboard and you can see it in the app. So if you will deploy it, you will see you have like application inside. So you can see the average evaluation score over time. I will highlight here if you can see it. And we can see that the fluency dropped. Okay, something happened. It's a good way for us to evaluate it. Latency. Okay, so you can see here the difference between the models. So it goes without saying that the larger models, the latency will be higher, and tokens used over time, and the tokens that we use. So this can be a good dashboard for cost estimation, how many tokens we use, and you can configure your own dashboard and application and really evaluate and view the metrics that really important for your organization. And again, you can create different alerts. So if we saw this behavior, so we can send an alert, an email, or a message, whatever you are working with. And it's kind of really easy for you to work with it. And again, this is another dashboard. You can review and check different. So in this case, request per minute, peak time, and we can see that the behavior. We have different solutions. I will not cover them for for large scale customers or large scale applications. We have a provision throughput unit where you can get as much as compute as you need, and here you can see analyze the different behavior, request per minute, request latency or errors, the type of the error, and the behavior. So we cover some of the components, but in this slide, I would like to start to summarize and then maybe to answer some of your question, and maybe we can check if the application worked. The max token. So we use code to define, and again, automation. It's automation, running it as code, working on your local development environment with VS Code or any other framework, and deploy it really fast to the cloud. Open sources, again, I mentioned semantic kernel by Microsoft, AutoGen or LangChain, strong integration, AZD template to deploy different resources and to deploy a full application with just a single line of code. Now let's check. Okay. Meanwhile, you can ask the questions.
Yes. So does Prompty work with image to text models, or is it purely text to text?
This is a great question. I didn't check the image, but it's something that we can check. I'm not sure. I think it's only text, but let me check it out.
Okay.
It's relatively new tool. I think we launched it like 2 or 3 months ago. But yeah. Okay, just to close the loop. Okay, so now it's working. You can see here the full article. So you saw how easy it was. I just changed the max tokens, added only one, run the AZD up, and now our production application. So we can see baby fashion trends. We have different nostalgia is in, bold and bright colors, gender, neutral design, celebrity influences, super important, and conclusion. Okay, so it's working, and yeah, we managed to deploy an application to find some errors, and well done. So okay, so let's try to wrap it up. We reviewed a few tools. I think we cover like very important processes that are usually complicated or running manually, and we found how to automate them with the different tools. We learn about Prompty, which is a prompt template that you can configure in a coherent structure and collaborate between different teams, and it's kind of single source of truth for the organization to build a structured system prompt or to build a structured prompt. We saw how easy it is to experiment with different 20 models. By the way, we have more models. I think this you will get this question later on. But again, just instead of changing your code, just hit the play, don't need the API key, etc. You can trace with the traces of OpenTelemetry, find bugs in your VS Code, and simply run AZD app to deploy the solution in your application, and you saw it. Like in the beginning, we had an error, and now it's fully working. So, I think we didn't cover all of the challenges, but I think we cover the foundational challenges that developers are facing in their application development. Yeah, so I think now we will have some more time for questions.
Question from Doran Hussein. Where is monitoring for GenAI application dashboard? Is it in the Azure OpenAI Studio or Azure Monitor?
Yeah, so you can use both of them. So, okay, let's start from the beginning. So you can, as you saw, you can see it in your VS Code. There's another option. So you have like different options if you would like to use the Azure monitoring, application insights. So it's really up to you where to find your monitoring. It's a bit different between the different resources, but again, it can be, to summarize, it can be either in your VS Code or different monitoring options with Azure OpenAI monitoring or application insights.
Additional question, can I feed my document to this app?
Yeah, so in this app, you will need to add your content. In this case, they use like the products as a vector database. So, but again, yes, the answer is yes. You need to add or to change the current structure and remove the vector database of the products in this scenario and use your own Azure and use your own data or your own document with Azure AI search.
Another question, how can we implement RAG using this?
So as I answered, RAG is embedded in this solution. For those of you, I assume most of you are familiar with RAG, but RAG is a retrieval augmented generation. When you would like to add your knowledge base, so it can be either your SharePoint documents, it could be Word document, text, image, any other type of data, and converting it or embedded, create embeddings, and then you can get your own organizational flavor of GPT. Like if you have a process in your organization and you would like to understand what is the process of changing my bank account. So you will get a fast response with your internal knowledge base where just GPT will not have the knowledge to answer this question, and maybe it will hallucinate. So the short answer is yes, you can connect your own RAG to this application.
Thank you. Do we have any videos of AutoGen, also videos on working with RAGs? So Yaniv mentioned that at the beginning, we had an amazing session with Yaniv about AutoGen. You can find this session and plenty of other sessions about RAGs and coding videos, a lot of great content at the Reactor. You will hear from Moria in a few minutes on how to register to upcoming sessions, but also how to view a lot of great content at the Reactor YouTube channel.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, you can check here the resource. So we have plenty of resources. Some of you might be confused, but again, these are resources that you don't need to, invent the wheel. So I recommend to check these resources. So you have the GenAI LLMOps, and as we covered the AZD, so you have like different templates. So for those of you that don't like this use case, so you can find different templates with AZD, and I think the common use cases are covered there. So you have like plenty of templates. I recommend you to check it out, and you have my. You can see here the link to my LinkedIn. Feel free to shoot me some questions. I shared like more resources during this session. So as Adi mentioned, if you would like to understand, and it's funny because yesterday I had a meeting with a customer and They literally would like to deploy to production a simple chat solution with 2 agents, but their question, next quarter, we would like to augment it to other agents. So I think in the ML journey, most of the customers start with like a simple 1 agent or 2 agent, but then you would like to, when they are moving to phase 2 or when they would like to move forward, they need like different agents. So it's one single point that interact with the customer. It can be customer support issues, billing issues, technical issues, etc.
Okay, so we still have a lot of questions, and you are still free to write additional questions. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a few minutes for the contest, and then we will equip you with a lot of great information on how to sign up to a new content. But for now, let's have the content and the contest ready. So our question is, how many models are available in Azure AI? Is it A, 333? Is it 738? 14 only OpenAI models? Or D, 1,786 models? What you need to do right now is to post that on chat. And the first one, again, that will answer correctly, our V team will approach them to confirm their eligibility. And then we will, at the end of these 5-7 minutes, we will announce the winner. So in case you already answered, so we will equip you and to let you know where we are right now in this series. So we started with amazing 2 sessions getting started, and we had sessions with GitHub advocates about GitHub and Azure better together. You can, like we mentioned that already on the chat, you can check it out on YouTube Reactor. You will also get the link to the playlist, the Reactor in the follow-up email. We also had a session about how to scale up AI application. That was just to give you a taste about what we're going to have throughout the year. So the upcoming session, and the first one that we already started today, thank you, Yaniv, with this great session, is about prototype to production. But what we're going to explore more in these few sessions, we're going to speak about LLMs, SLMs, about copilots, how to create your own copilot. We're going to show you a concrete example of from end to end on how to deploy and write such application. And I've seen a few questions about that. So we will going to cover from beginners to experts knowledge in how to write application. And then we're going to move to managing an AI infra, about cost management, FinOps, DevOps, AKS, all of the components that you need in order to create a superb AI application and to actually create value for your customers when you're creating this application. And then we're going to move to security in the age of AI, because shift left, we really need to take this shift left approach as a developers, as architects, as TDMs to secure our application. So what are we going to cover? We're going to speak about data security for AI, about GitHub advanced security, Copilot for security, and new amazing features that are being deployed and just launched recently. So a lot of great content ahead. And for now, I want to stage to Moria.
Thank you, Adi. And hi, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed this session. And I see all the great questions that you asked. I hope we will still have time to answer the rest of the questions. But meanwhile, I wanted to share with you a bit about the Reactor program. So as Adi introduced me at the beginning, I'm the regional lead for the Reactor. Reactors are actually, it's a learning program by Microsoft for developers and startups and anyone that actually wants to learn for free. It gives you the opportunity to meet, to learn, and to connect with each other. We offer free webinars and in-person events in different locations. You can see the locations where we have physical Reactor. Other than that, we are offering daily webinars on different time zones. So I posted the link to the Reactor where you can actually check out the upcoming events that we have and view the events in your time zone. One series I wanted to mention, a new one that we just launched, it's the Concept to Creation series. Basically, talking about, it's a 6-part series. We are kicking it off at the end of the month, talking about really how to transfer your ideas to reality and to inspire the software developers or really anyone in the with an idea to create something with GenAI tools. So this series is actually a really cool one, starting at the end of the month. It's going to be online, 12 p.m. GMT. You can scan this QR code, or I will share the link soon in the chat, and you can register to the upcoming events. One more thing I wanted to mention is actually the Microsoft Learn program. So Microsoft Learn platform, it's a free platform by Microsoft. There it is, where actually you can decide the technology you want to learn on and see all the learning resources available for you, from learning paths to webinars, on-demand content, certifications. So really so many resources for you to study on your own pace from home, which is really great. I completed myself a few certifications from Microsoft Learn. In particular, there are 2 hubs that's very popular within this within the Microsoft Learn website. The first one is the AI hub, which gathers all the AI focused learning path and modules that you can complete. It's really cool because it can actually design your own learning path. If you are providing a bit of feedback on your experience, it will tell you what are the opportunities specifically for you, depending on what is your professional. So this is the AI Learning Hub. Another one is the Copilot Learning Hub, which we recently announced in the last build. This is still, this is how the AI Learning Hub looks like. And this is the Copilot Hub. Basically, the same idea, but on Copilot, you will find a lot of resources just around this, this topic. So if you want to sign out to the Reactor newsletter and find out about our upcoming events and webinars, you can scan this QR code. The link will be shared also in the chat. And then you will get one email at the beginning of the month with all the upcoming webinars and in-person events in your region. So all the events by Microsoft Reactor are delivered by our employees, our MVPs, or our student ambassadors. Lastly, I wanted to mention the last program for entrepreneurs. So it's the Microsoft Founders Hub. For those of you with ideas that you would like to develop into a startup, Microsoft Founders Hub provides you with, it's a really great program that provides a lot of great resources for early entrepreneurs. You can get credits from 1,000 to 150K in OpenAI. So if you scan this QR code, you will reach Founders Hub. There is a really long list of the benefits that you get if you register for this. Is of course free. So I highly recommend you to scan the QR code, visit the Founders Hub website, and find out more about the different opportunities that Microsoft offers for entrepreneurs. That's it from my end. I'm going to pass it back to Adi to announce the winner. So Adi, back to you.
Thank you so much, Moria. We are still confirming and speaking with the current first attendees that answer the questions. So what we're going to do till we will finalize it, Yaniv, are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's have, perfect. So let's take some more questions. Let's see. It's loading. Okay. Let's see. Many questions. Let me dig a great one. Just a moment.
Pick a complicated one.
Okay.
And if I will not know, I will ask you to answer it.
Like I did. By the way, there was a question about the difference between prompting and LangChain. I actually I gave Copilot to answer that, but if you can just kind of summarize.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's a different tool. Prompty is kind of a template for building a prompt. I haven't seen something similar, but the most similar concept is like structured files like JSON or YAML, but Prompty is like the prompt structure. LangChain started from building a chain of components. So it's one LLM and function calling, etc. So I think it's two different tools. If I would try to compare LangChain, and we have LangGraph for building graph of agents. So if I would try to find the equivalent for LangChain, it can be some capabilities you can find with prompt flow, and some capabilities you can find with semantic kernel, and find capabilities you can find with AutoGen for the multi-agent, prompt flow for building flows and evaluation, and semantic kernel is building tools on top of an agent. So you can choose your own tool. You can find a best of breed or any other type of solution, but I think these are two different tools. The equivalent for prompt flow for LangChain is the frameworks that I mentioned.
Thank you. Next one, I have a question about methods of updating API version for Azure OpenAI. When calling Azure OpenAI, API version is a required parameter. Every now and then, production API version is retired by Microsoft and it breaks the app unless the API version updated to a newer version. This won't work for do you know a better way of updating the API version without updating the code? Okay.
Yeah, so the pace of innovation is really fast. 1 year backward, the cost of OpenAI LLM call reduced by 90%, and we're getting the accuracy or the capabilities are totally different scenarios. Some of the customers are migrating from like an older version, and some of the version will be deprecated. So I think it's an advantage. I can understand the challenge of updating the API version, so you can write it in one environment file, and then you just need to check. But again, we have different types of configuration, and one of them is API version, and usually you will need to change. You don't need to do it every week or every month, but when you are upgrading your API version or LLM model, the best tool for you to work with and to automate it, as I mentioned, is prompt flow. You can build your own flow of evaluation, and you will need to build a golden set of a few examples, and then to evaluate that you don't have a drift or a bias or something similar. So the short answer, use prompt flow to evaluate, but again, it's I assume that a new customer will not use GPT 3.5 or like older version, GPT whatever, and they will utilize and leverage the capabilities of the newer versions.
A question about Copilot. Anonymous is asking whether we can really create our Copilot, and the answer is, of course. I will let you to answer because you've done that with multiple customers, but I'm seeing the successes of many customers around the world. Feel free to answer.
So it's the $1 million question. I think that for experimenting Copilot, the different suite, the different Copilots of Microsoft and Azure suite are really amazing tools, and for experimenting, and you can even deploy it in production, it's a good way for you to start really fast and to evaluate the quality of the Copilots. Usually the trend that I've observed is the customers that would like to configure. So Copilot is, to some extent, is a managed service, but if you would like to build your application with your organization flavor and requirements, and then you have like more flexibility, to configure it and to build it based on your requirements. So the short answer, Copilot is a managed service where the different Azure OpenAI application is kind of more flexible to work and develop it with.
Thank you, Yaniv. And now I want to announce the winner. Okay, so the correct answer is D. 1,786 models we have in Azure AI. And the name of the winner is Mike Chart. And we're currently speaking with him. So first of all, congratulations and thank you everyone who answered. And by the way, you couldn't see, because I've seen that on the chat. So you did not see your answers submitted because we have moderators that are looking and answering each one of the questions. Sometimes you would see that post on the main thread, and sometimes we just answer to you and dismissed. So that answers some of the questions that you have. So again, Mike, congratulations. And now we actually have additional 7 minutes for questions. We had some more on the chat. So let's review the questions that we have. Okay. Yaniv, can you recommend any tools that support developers to develop ground truth with the business SME, or does Prompty have any features to support that?
Adi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I missed the question.
I will take another one and then let's go back to this one. Which tool is best for automation and best scenario when deploying to the cloud?
It's easy. 5 characters, AZD app, and this is like your go-to to deploy from local to the cloud. And you saw like the resources, like more than 15 resources, so it's really fast and simple. So this is the short answer to deploy from a local environment to the cloud. If you would like to automate the flow or the evaluation, you can use Prompt Flow or Prompty. And again, you have like a purpose-built tool for each challenge. So I think this is what I really like about it. So you have a purpose-built tool for each challenge or each process, and you can integrate between the tools and choose the best tool for your requirements.
I've seen a few questions about debugging and about unit testing. There is a question about Prompty. Does the Prompty support for unit testing of our use cases?
Yeah, so unit test is a broad topic. I recommend to use Prompty to evaluate the quality of your prompt. So it's not a good tool to evaluate the full solution. So if you have like a flow of different models that are working together, Prompty is a good tool for you to evaluate one component or one process in the chain, and Prompt Flow to evaluate the full process. So again, Prompty for one process or LLM call, and Prompt Flow to evaluate the full or the final answer.
Okay. Let's see. There is a question about, is using CLU of Azure language and different agents using OpenAI, is one the same? Which one is best for building a virtual assistant?
I didn't hear the beginning of the question. Is using?
CLU. I'm not sure about CLU.
Yeah. Maybe CLI?
Probably.
Yeah. So is using CLU to?
CLI of Azure language and different agents. If you can rephrase it, Anonymous who wrote the question, that would be great. Let's see if we have any additional questions, last ones. How to evaluate, validate responses from different models automatically?
Yeah, great question. So you can use with PromptFlow, you have a template of, I think, 10 different metrics, and you can define your own metric. Let's say for accuracy, and you can define what is accuracy for your use case. So you have like LLM as an evaluator that can evaluate the final answer based on different metrics and to give it a score. It can be between 1 to 5, or it can be 0 to 100. So you can define your own scale and you can define your own metrics. PromptFlow support different metrics like coherence, but again, you can edit it and change it based on your requirements, and you can prioritize it, prioritize or weight, give some more weight for different like maybe relevance is the most relevant, is the most important metric for you.
Okay, so we have 1 minute left. We want to say a big thank you, Yaniv, for a great session. Once again, thank you so much for giving us those skills, and thank you for the audience for being with us, joining our session after session, and for you taking the time to develop your skills and invest in yourself in this rapid change environment in time that we are living in. And with that, I want to invite you to make sure that you already registered to our upcoming event that will take place on October 31. We will have a session with an amazing cloud advocate, Rory Preddy, about cutting-edge models, LLMs, SLMs, how and when to use each one of them, and the latest and greatest about it. And also, we obviously, like in all of our sessions, we will see a live demo on how to leverage those models. So thank you again for joining us, and have a great day.
Thank you very much.